Thanks for joining me for Journey to Easter. This is our Holy Week series, exploring the significance and the meaning of each of the days of Holy Week in the Christian tradition. I'm Stephen Cat Perry, host of In Good Faith, and with me in studio today is Dr. Brandon Peterson. He's an assistant professor of religious studies at the University of Utah and works in the departments of world languages and culture and also philosophy. You're a busy guy.
So yeah, I'm a busy guy up there. There's a lot of exciting stuff happening with religious studies at the U. It's a small sort of program, and it's growing, but lots of interest in talking about religion.
And you're also a parishioner at the beautiful Cathedral of the Madeleine in Salt Lake City.
Yeah, I'm really fortunate. I live really close by there, and what a treasure. I mean, architecturally and the artwork in there, it's a beautiful place.
I was going to use that same word. It's a treasure both for the people who worship there and the community. I've gone to so many beautiful services there, organ concerts, all the rest. I learned something already just in looking over an outline you sent, which is we say Good Friday in English, which makes us think, what's good about Good Friday?
Right.
But it means that translates differently in other languages. Tell me about this.
Yeah. Across the Christian world, it's known by a number of different names. So Viernes Santo in Spanish, it's Holy or Sacred Friday. German, it's Karfreitag, which is something like Sorrowful Friday. In the Greek tradition, it's Great Friday. I think in the Scandinavian languages, it's something like Long Friday. So it goes by a number of different names.
But good for us to know. I'm just wondering, when you grew up, do you remember first becoming aware and what that was like in Catholic services, and how were things different on that day when you went to services or just in the daily walk?
Yeah, I mean, the services are a bit different on Good Friday. So it's the one day of the year that the Catholic Church doesn't have Mass. Mass typically involves the consecration of bread and wine as the sacrament of the Eucharist. So that's not done on Good Friday. There's no Eucharistic prayer. Typically, what ends up happening are pre-consecrated hosts from previous masses are brought out, and so the faithful still receive the body and blood of Jesus, but yeah, there's no consecration. It's a very solemn sort of day. There isn't the procession often doesn't have music. Usually there's an entrance hymn while the clergy are coming in, and it's very somber. It's a very quiet. There's a lot of silence when priests would often, in places where they would kneel or genuflect, there's full body prostrations where they're laying down with their face and chest down to the floor, and so just in that penitential sort of spirit that pervades, the entire season of Lent, but Good Friday in particular. So yeah, it's different in a number of ways, but yeah, that somber feeling and that So on the one hand, it's Jesus's crucifixion was seen by his disciples as absolutely disastrous, right? He's at his arrest. Most of his disciples end up abandoning him. They flee. This is the gospel narratives say, a few people hung around the margins. Peter is denying Jesus. They're running for their lives. Eventually, the Gospel of John has the setting where eventually the risen Jesus appears. They're hiding for their lives. They're behind locked doors. This was seen as a disastrous, calamitous event. And even St. Paul, in his first letter to the Corinthians, talks about Jesus' cross as a scandal to the Jews and foolishness to the Greeks. And so there's a lot that's obviously bad about this. The cruel torture and death of anyone, let alone the sinless Son of God, is something that's awful. It's a desecration in many respects. But at the same time, Paul then turns around and says, but we proclaim Christ crucified, the power and wisdom of God. So even early on, Christians saw something good happening here. And so there are images that show up in the Bible and then in the theological tradition that follows this, trying to make more sense, some positive theological sense out of these Gospels. So I'm actually teaching a course at the U called Who is Jesus? A World of Answers right now. And we just got done with a unit exploring different ways of thinking about atonement. So anyway, I won't go through the entire course here, but let me just talk about a few highlights of some images that have been used as as Catholics, but other Christians try to make sense of this.
And this is interesting to me because we say this was the day that Jesus was crucified.
Right,
but
right.
there was a whole process before that, and I'd love to also include, and maybe you already are, the Stations of the Cross.
Oh, right. The Stations of the Cross. This is a practice that you see in the Catholic tradition, but also the wider Christian world that dates back to pilgrimages to Jerusalem. So the sites where these things happened, there's something special about standing in these sites. I haven't had the chance to be in the Holy Land myself. Really looking forward to that someday. But even just going, I had the chance to go to Athens and to go to the Areopagus where Paul makes this famous speech, and to just be standing there. There's something about being in a place where you know this happens. It sort of bridges the gulf of time.
I've been lucky to guide some tours there, and to go down the Via Dolorosa,
right,
and stop at some of the stops. And one of the most touching to me is when Simon is called, when Christ has stumbled several times carrying the crossbeam or carrying the cross, and that he's asked, or not asked, he is compelled,
pressed into service
to help. Just to think what that would have been like, and in a way, what an honor. But it just shows you the difficulty that Jesus was experiencing.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Stations of the Cross, I think one of the really powerful things about this is, again, bridging that gap, gap in time. So the pilgrims that would go to Jerusalem and go on this Via Dolorosa, not everybody can go to Jerusalem. So there are imitations of this that are done in churches. Oftentimes in Catholic churches, you'll see Roman numerals marking the 14 stations,
or beautiful paintings in the Cathedral of the Madeleine. Right.
Yeah, there are some remarkable paintings there for the Stations of the Cross. So whether it's paintings or Roman numerals or very simple depictions, there are even outdoor Stations of the Cross. So I studied at the University of Notre Dame around one of the lakes there. They have stations. So in any time of the year, as you're going around the lakes, you can kind of have a meditative journey. And that walking outside, as special as it is in like the Cathedral of the Madeleine to make your way around to the church, there's something about walking outside for great distances that communicates that imagining yourself walking, for long distances as Jesus is carrying his cross. But yeah, there are often meditations that accompany these different stations where, there are readings from the Bible, there are songs, there are prayers, but these meditations often ask us to think about ways that people now are pressed into service involuntarily, or are unjustly condemned, or are suffering under burdens that they're having trouble carrying. And so that's, I think, one really valuable thing about the Stations of the Cross is putting us in touch, making us. The wider Lenten season is about introspection and thinking about the ways that our world is so broken, and how can we turn back to God, whether that's within ourselves. Each one of us has work to do in that regard, but also the wider world.
Just recently, Wednesday was Ash Wednesday, the beginning of the Lenten season, which is leading up to Holy Week and Easter. For those who are in traditions where Lent is not observed, can you say something about that?
Yeah. Lent is a penitential season, so there are different. The liturgical calendar is something that shapes the lives and the worship, the liturgy of many different Christian traditions, including the Catholic tradition. So there's an annual cycle that goes through here, and it's a cycle of readings. So there are 4 Gospels, right? Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And the synoptic Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, they're all on a sort of rotation that go through. So for 1 year, most of the readings will be from Mark. Then the next year it'll be from Matthew. We're in the Luke cycle right now. But yeah, in addition to cycling through readings like that, there are different holy seasons. So Advent looks forward to the birth of Jesus with Christmas. Lent is the season leading up to ultimately the highest, most sacred holy day in the Christian tradition, the resurrection of Jesus. So Easter, Pascha is what it's known as in many parts of the world. Easter in English, but yeah, it's a season that corresponds with Jesus's own 40 days in the desert before he undertakes his ministry. So it's a time of fasting, of prayer, of almsgiving, penitence is the big watchword. So what are ways that you can reform your own life? There's a lot of introspection.
Really grateful to Dr. Brandon Peterson for sharing his thoughts on Good Friday. And you can learn about each of the days of Holy Week in the Christian tradition worldwide with our Journey to Easter series. And I hope you'll join us in person on Palm Sunday, April 13th of this year, 2025, at the Marriott Center on the BYU campus for Journey to Easter, which will be a concert of beautiful music tying in with each of the days. And then we will hear presentations and reflections, including one from Dr. Peterson, about each of those days. Subscribe to the podcast on Apple, Spotify, or watch this interview on our YouTube channel. In Good Faith is a production of BYU Radio.